A deafening crash reverberated through the hall of the thousand gods, halting every murmur and whisper within the chamber. The vast, ornate space brimmed with divine beings from across the universe, each one a deity of immeasurable power and presence. The air itself seemed to tense, awaiting the words of the council leader. Medidine, the council god, finally spoke, his voice booming, "Welcome, all celestial overseers. We have gathered here to address the actions of a peculiar world Earth. The humans have defied our will and refused our gift of guidance." Gasps filled the hall, echoing off the marble pillars that soared toward the sky. Whispers and shouts of disbelief rippled among the gods. The god of Eternia sneered, "Humanity. Those frail, mortal beings? They dare to reject the divine?" Medidine nodded slowly, his eyes scanning the room. "Yes, they have chosen to walk their path, forsaking our benevolence. Their defiance knows no bounds." Aharit, the god of mercy, rose from his throne, his golden robes billowing. "They are fools. Our offer was not one of control, but salvation. How dare they refuse us?" A sudden, soft laugh silenced the room. All eyes turned toward Gaia, the goddess of life and nature. She sat upon her modest throne, draped in robes of green and earth tones, her eyes gleaming with a knowing light. "Salvation." Gaia's voice rang out, laced with sarcasm. "You call it salvation. They call it chains. Humanity has seen through the veil of your so-called benevolence." The gods erupted in protest. Oharit's face twisted in anger. They destroy themselves. They wage wars, ravage their lands, and spread chaos. Without our guidance, they are nothing but savages. Gaia raised an eyebrow, her expression calm amidst the storm. And yet, they endure. They rise from the ashes of their own folly and build anew. They suffer, yes, but they learn. They evolve. Unlike us, who cling to ancient laws and hierarchies, Medidine slammed his staff onto the floor, sending a ripple of energy across the hall. "Enough. Humanity is lost without us. We offer them the wisdom of the stars, yet they turn their backs. Is this what you admire, Gaia?" Their insolence, Gaia leaned forward, her gaze piercing through the haze of divine power. "No, Medidine. I admire their resolve. They have chosen to live by their terms, not ours. That, my fellow gods, is true power. They seek freedom, not your version of peace." The gods murmured, glancing at each other with unease. Oharit's voice, filled with contempt, broke through the chatter. "Freedom? Their freedom brings nothing but destruction. They kill each other over borders, beliefs, resources. How can you see that as strength?" Gaia's eyes narrowed, her voice steady and cold. "Because they learn from every mistake. They do not sit upon lofty thrones, dictating what is right or wrong. They stumble, they fall, they bleed, and then they rise, stronger than before." Medidine's eyes gleamed with anger. "You romanticize them. They are like children, playing with fire, unaware of the harm they cause." And yet, Gaia countered sharply, they have tamed the flames. They harness the elements, explore the stars, and bend the laws of nature to their will. They do not need gods. They have become their own. The hall simmered with rising tension as Gaia's words settled over the gods. Whispers of disbelief and outrage filled the space, but none spoke louder than Aharit. "You're blind, Gaia." They're fractured, divided by petty beliefs. Their so-called progress is a lie. Without divine order, they will collapse. Gaia's lips curled into a faint smile. "Collapse? Perhaps. But they have not collapsed yet, have they? They fight, they disagree, and yet they move forward. They are not slaves to our will. They choose to live in chaos, to explore the unknown, to make mistakes." Medidine's voice thundered through the hall. "Your admiration of them blinds you, Gaia. They are nothing more than a fleeting spark in the void, doomed to extinguish without our light." "Perhaps," Gaia replied, her eyes burning with intensity. Or perhaps they are the fire that consumes the darkness. While you speak of them as fragile, they have achieved what none of us dared, to seek meaning without gods, to find purpose in their mortality. The gods shifted uneasily, their gazes locking on to Gaia. Her words defied the core of their beliefs. Medidine's jaw tightened. So, you believe they could exist, thrive, without divine intervention? Not just exist, Gaia shot back. Thrive, flourish, evolve beyond anything we can imagine. They refused your guidance because they know the price. They have seen through the illusion of your gifts and decided to carve their fate. O'Hara's fists clenched. And what fate is that? To burn in their own hubris? To war until nothing remains, perhaps, Gaia repeated softly. Or perhaps they will become something greater. A force beyond gods, born not of divine decree, but of their will to survive, to grow, to create. The hall fell into a heavy silence. Medidine took a step forward, his eyes blazing. Then, you propose we leave them to this chaos? To let them destroy themselves? No, Gaia replied, her voice like a knife through the quiet. I propose we learn from them. For once, let them walk their path. See where it leads. It may surprise even us, the so-called omnipotent. A murmur of confusion and curiosity swept through the gods. Medidine stared at Gaia, his expression unreadable. And if their path leads to destruction, Gaia's eyes gleamed. Then it will be their choice, not ours. And that is worth more than any gift we could bestow. The tension in the hall was palpable. O'Hara's eyes blazed with fury. You speak of them as if they are our equals, Gaia. They are insects insignificant in the grand design of the cosmos. Gaia turned to face him, her expression calm but unyielding. Then why do they haunt your thoughts, Aharit? Why do they keep you up at night? If they are insignificant, why does their defiance trouble you so? Aharit was silent, his mouth pressed into a thin line. Medidine raised his hand. Enough of this. The humans defy us, yes, but they are still our creation. We must bring them back to order, to show them the folly of their arrogance. Gaia's gaze swept across the hall, taking in the faces of every god present. And if you do, what then? They will fight you. They will resist your order because they know it's a cage. You can break their bodies, but you will never break their will. Then we force them to submit. Aharit spat, his voice dripping with contempt. They need to learn their place. Gaia shook her head slowly. Their place is wherever they choose it to be. They are not your puppets, Aharit. They are not playthings for you to manipulate. A silence hung heavy in the air. Medidine spoke, his voice low and ominous. So, you would let them walk into the abyss of their own making. To destroy themselves in the name of freedom? Yes, Gaia said firmly. Because that is their right. They refuse you because they seek to build a world free from divine decree. They choose to face the unknown rather than live under your shadow. Aharit laughed bitterly. You think they can succeed without us? They are already on the brink of annihilation. And yet, they have survived, Gaia replied softly. They do not wait for miracles. They create their own. Medidine's eyes narrowed. So, you believe they will rise to surpass even us? Gaia smiled, a hint of defiance in her eyes. I believe they already have. The hall grew quiet, the gods struggling to grasp Gaia's words. O'Hara's face twisted with rage. Arrogant. You think they surpass us? We, who have created worlds and commanded stars. How can mere mortals, bound by flesh and time, be our equals? Gaia turned to him, eyes blazing with fierce conviction. Because they do not accept limits. While we are bound by the rules we created, they break them. They defy what is impossible. That is their power. Medidine stepped forward, his voice trembling with contained fury. And what would you have us do, Gaia? Watch them tear themselves apart? Let them become a threat to all that we have built. Gaia's expression softened. I would have you let them grow. They are not a threat, they are a force of change. They push against the boundaries of reality itself. And they do it without our help. O'Hara's fists tightened. You speak madness. They kill, they destroy, they corrupt everything they touch. Yes, Gaia agreed, her tone steady. But they also create, innovate, and love with a depth we can scarcely comprehend. Their darkness is only matched by their light. Medidine's eyes were cold. You risk the wrath of the cosmos for this gamble. If they choose to rise against us, it will be war. Gaia stood tall, her gaze unflinching. Then let it be war. For they will not stand alone. They are not the children you think them to be. They are creators, dreamers, warriors. They will not bow to gods who seek to bind their will. A murmur of fear and anger swept through the hall. Medidine raised his voice above the chaos. So be it, Gaia. But remember, it is you who unleashed this defiance. When they fall, their blood will be on your hands. Gaia's smile was serene. Perhaps. Or perhaps it will be on yours when they rise and become what you fear most, free. The gods recoiled, some shouting in outrage, others falling into stunned silence. They felt the weight of Gaia's words, a threat and a promise woven together. The air grew heavier, the silence stretching as the gods grappled with Gaia's defiance. O'Harett's voice finally broke through, dripping with venom. Then you truly are a fool, Gaia. They will turn on you, just as they have turned on each other. Your so-called free will bring nothing but ruin. Gaia's gaze pierced him, her eyes calm yet fierce. If ruin comes, it will be their choice, not ours to dictate. We have ruled for eons, imposing our will upon the cosmos. But humanity, they choose their own path, for better or worse. Medidine stepped forward, his posture rigid, anger barely contained. Your admiration blinds you. They are chaotic, violent, unpredictable. If we do not act, they will spread like wildfire, consuming all in their wake. Gaia's lips curved into a sad smile. Perhaps. Or perhaps they will become something more than we ever imagined. They have the potential to surpass even us, to redefine the very fabric of existence. A murmur of dissent and disbelief swept through the gods. Medidine raised his hand to silence them. Surpass us? You dream, Gaia? They are bound by mortality, by flesh and blood. We are eternal, infinite. They cannot hope to reach our heights. Gaia's expression hardened. And yet they strive. They look up to the stars, not with fear, but with curiosity and determination. They dare to dream beyond their limitations. While we sit upon our thrones, content in our immortality, they reach for the impossible. Aharet slammed his hand against his throne, the sound echoing through the hall. You gamble the fate of the cosmos on a fleeting spark of defiance. They will burn out, and you will have led them to their doom. Or they will burn brighter than any star, Gaia replied, her voice ringing with conviction. And in their light, they will reveal the cracks in our own power, the limits of our understanding. That is what you fear, Aharet. Not their failure, but their success. The hall erupted in chaos, gods shouting in anger, disbelief, fear. Medidine raised his voice above the din. Enough. If they choose this path, they choose war. And when they fall, the universe will know that defying the gods brings only destruction. Gaia stood tall, unbowed. Then let it be known. Let them write their story in the stars, with or without us. For they are more than mere mortals. They are creators, dreamers, warriors, and they will not be chained. The gods recoiled, some seething with rage, others shrouded in doubt. The chamber trembled with the echoes of Gaia's final words, a defiant promise to a future not yet written. Medidine's eyes blazed with fury. Then know this, Gaia. You have chosen defiance over order. You have sown rebellion where there should be reverence. When they fall, you'll bear the blame for their destruction. Gaia's gaze softened, yet remained resolute. Perhaps, or perhaps in their defiance, they will build a new order, one not bound by fear or divine will. They do not seek to be ruled. They seek to be free, Aharet sneered. Freedom? They know nothing of the cost. They will break themselves on the wheel of their ambition. Gaia turned toward him, her voice gentle but firm. Maybe they will. And maybe, from their brokenness, they will rise stronger. For they are not bound by our chains of immortality. They are bound by their courage to change. A heavy silence fell over the chamber. Medidine raised his staff, his face a mask of grim determination. Then let them face their choice. But mark my words, Gaia. When they turn against us, when they bring chaos upon the cosmos, you'll be the one to answer. Gaia inclined her head, unflinching. I accept that, for I have seen what they are capable of. And I believe, despite everything, they will become something greater than even we can comprehend. With those words, she turned and walked away from the chamber, leaving behind a hall of silent, seething gods. As she departed, a whisper of hope lingered in the air, an unspoken promise that humanity's defiance was only the beginning of their story.